In this video, I have a few things to show you guys. From teachers on Zoom admitting their racist teachings, all the way to putting on a little mask mandate song to preschoolers. Well, let's get to it. In this first video, you will see a teacher explain why she thinks that we need to turn our kids into political activists.
Now's the perfect time for us to actually make more of an impact than we ever had, because this is really the third rising. All right, so we've already done the Civil War, we did the civil rights. This is the next time. And so with everything that we have, all these tools from James Baldwin and just everybody, we get to now use those in a way we've never been able to. And so I really want to talk about how to keep your teachers and your principals and your superintendents accountable. You know, you being the activist for your student, but also having your student be an activist for themselves, so that they are the ones who are also saying this is a problem, and we're teaching them how to get that power rather than just waiting to see what happens. That follow-up.
The political activist this woman is referring to is not the peaceful Martin Luther King activist that we needed at the time in the 60s. No, that's too peaceful. Now I think it's pretty safe to assume that the activist that she's talking about is Antifa or extremist BLM.
Watkins, 8th grade humanities teacher at Cedar Park Middle School, and my pronouns are she, her, we, and us. I'm going to say something that's not nice and not sweet, but it's true. If you're not evolving into an anti-racist educator, you're making yourself obsolete in this field of profession. Our district is only getting browner and browner with our children. And so if, you know, obviously you can't change your melanin, all right, but you can change your mind so that you can actually function in a district that is full of BIPOC children. So if you're being resistant, I understand that, but you're going to have to eventually come to the light, because if you're going to keep with those old views of colonialism, it's going to lead to being fired, because you're going to be doing damage to our children, trauma. And so as we fire the teachers who sexually abuse our children, we will be firing the teachers who do racist things to our children, traumatize them. And while our district might not be completely on there, OEA is working on it, all right? NEA is working on it. And so it's just a matter of time. So it's like you either evolve or dissolve. You've got to start walking with us.
Are you against critical race theory? Well, according to this professor, you are the equivalent to a sex abuser. You should be treated like a sexual abuser. This next teacher is embarrassing. This next teacher says being white makes you anti-human.
Goes over through a 15-week semester. By the time they get to that 15th week, they have a grasp of what I'm saying. Now, we do this through various means. We do this through writing papers. We also do this through exercises, right? Asking them to evaluate their friendship groups, to talk with their parents about their ideas about this stuff, because a lot of white people don't talk about their whiteness. You know, even the fact that you call them white, they get pissed off about that, because they don't think about it. They just think of themselves as human beings. Everybody else ain't a human being, but they are. They believe white equals human, but in fact, white is anti-human.
To my white viewers, please tell me down in the comments, how does it feel not being human? What do you guys eat? What do you guys drink? What do you guys do for fun? Let me know down in the comments. Really though, I mean, like, why even make that comment? That comment is very degrading towards white people, and if it was said about any other race, I would still have a problem.
I have a question. If anybody in the room where the idea equality is preferred over equity in classroom practices, can anybody expand on the difference between those two words? At least for them? You know, you're not.
Well, I wrote it, so I guess I gotta say. So Amy Curry. Well, equality means treating every student the same in this situation, and equity would be, you know, sort of taking from someone else's post-it note, sort of meeting students where they are and understanding that everyone is different, and so might need different policies or practices from you as the instructor.
Well, that's
I was in the breakout room with Amy. Amy, did you mean for that to go the other way around, that equity is preferred over equality?
I was presenting it as a racist situation.
Oh, yes, thank you. Okay, it wasn't a suggestion, it was an issue. Okay, thank you.
Got it.
Yeah. And historically, one size fits all policy tends to promote equality.
I think it is important for everyone to understand when it comes to rights, all of us are equal. If you are a citizen of the United States, don't worry, you're equal when it comes to the Constitution. Unfortunately, our government really doesn't seem like it even cares about the Constitution, but it's still there and it's not going anywhere. Anyways, in this next video, please take this warning. It is mega cringe, okay? And I hate that word. You guys know I said I hate that word, but when it comes to stuff like this, I will say what it is. It is cringe. I do not want to watch it, but it has to be shown to you guys. Here's the video.
Wear a mask to school. I wear a mask to school. Hi ho the Dario. I wear a mask to school. It helps to keep me safe. It helps to keep me safe. Hi ho the Dario. It helps to keep me safe. It keeps my friends safe. It keeps my friends safe. Hi ho the Dario, it keeps my friends safe. And let me see a hooray! Put your hands up in the air!
You already know she gave them that candy right afterwards. I mean, if they did that without candy, without the reward of candy, that is child abuse. Why would you do that if you weren't getting something out of it? Anyways, guys, thank you guys for watching. If you guys aren't subscribed already, please subscribe. That really helps the channel out, and you will see more videos like this.
This opportunity to embolden himself and enrich his power and so on, in the sense that, in the phrase that people are using is his Reichstag fire, okay? When Adolf Hitler took office, again, using purely legal, constitutional, and democratic means, he was appointed Chancellor of Germany in January of 1933. Only a few weeks later, someone burned down or at least didn't burn it down, it was a huge building, but a major fire causing major damage to the Reichstag, which is a building housing the parliament. Now, Hitler blamed this on the socialists and immediately then used this as an opportunity to basically, we're under attack, there's bad guys out there, even bad guys within our own country, not from outside, right? It's not like we're being invaded, it's an attack from within. And so, in the name of fighting this internal enemy, I'm going to use my powers as chancellor, and he wound up arresting his political opponents, throwing them in jail, eventually putting many of them in either concentration camps or executing them. But it was the beginning of the dictatorship, okay? And the excuse he used was, we're under attack from within. So in the name of keeping the country safe, this is what I'm going to do. And a lot of ordinary Germans said, yes, please keep us safe, okay? Obviously, again, they would not have known how it was going to turn out 12 years later, but in the meantime, he was appealing to their belief in order and security, even if maybe at the cost of their liberties. So there's some thought that a few things going on here. So we know that Trump, for example, has been criticizing the judicial branch. And he's even pretty overtly said that if there is a terrorist attack, it's going to be these judges' fault. Okay? So in other words, if there's an attack, it's not going to be my fault, it's going to be these judges. So that would bolster his claim that it's a national security issue. And in theory, then, there might be some Americans who might be hesitant to support this immigration restriction until Americans are killed on American soil, at which time the thinking is that, just like the Germans did a long time ago, we'd say, we are willing to give up some of our liberties in the name of feeling safe and secure for a while, again, not necessarily knowing where it would lead. So if you really believe this, if this is what you believe that Trump's mindset or Steve Bannon's mindset might be, that, geez, if there is a terrorist attack, that would be good for us, because we would be able to show that these judges and the Democrats are wrong, and we could pass even stricter laws and rules and regulations, and most American people would be on board, there would be protests, and all this other stuff. So take the next step then and say, well, so if a terrorist attack on U.S. soil would be good for them politically, not necessarily that they would do one on their own, although remember, that's one of those conspiracy theories that 9/11 was an inside job, right? So here's the thought. If you believe that, then isn't it not that far-fetched to believe that if Trump believes there's political advantage, if there's a terrorist attack in the U.S., that he might not help create the conditions for it to take place, if not do it himself? And the problem here is that there's precedent again here. It's not exactly, but so while I personally don't believe that 9/11 was an inside job, or that if there were to be a terrorist attack in the United States in the next months, that it would be an inside job, it's not as far-fetched to believe that if you were to get a warning that there could be something afoot, that you might choose not to pursue that as strenuously as you might otherwise, if you acknowledge that there would be political advantage if there were to be an attack. Right? So in other words, if in a security briefing 2 months from now, if Steve Bannon on the National Security Council and Donald Trump, if he was actually there, not watching Finding Dory or tweeting about Nordstrom or whatever, if he was actually there and they got some sort of a more than normal but not an explicit warning like Bush did in August of 2001, they simply chose not to act on it, and well, if nothing happens, great. If something happens, then we already have set up to blame other people. Blame the Democrats, blame the judges. In the meantime, more likely then be able to get the more strict restrictions and so on that we want.
That is the video. Thank you guys so much for everything. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.